Hey sportsmen, John Bergsman here from the Great Lakes Insider Fishing Report, and we're going to talk to you today in studio about a bite that's been going on for a good while now, but now that we've got some super cold temperatures, we're going to talk to you about being able to easily move around the Curtis, Michigan. That's right, the Manistique Lakes recreation area. And the two major lakes there, South Manistique and Big Manistique. Now, we just spoke with folks over at Mixed Bait and Tackle, and we also chatted with Rodney over at the Fishing Hunt. Now, both of these shops are right located in Curtis, and both have got bait, tackle, and all the things you need. So stop in downtown Curtis, pick up your bait and tackle out to the lake. So we'll start on South Lake. And South Lake right now is really honking for all species. Now, we got a bluegill bite and a good perch bite, better than average perch bite, going in 6 to 12 feet of water off of the shoreline breaks and, of course, also off of the main islands and submerged structures that are in the lake. So 6 to 12 feet. Waxies, spikes, and even small minnow heads on a smaller like a Russian spoon is going to work great for both perch and bluegill. Now, if you're looking for walleye and pike on South Lake, you're going to go, believe it or not, to that same 6 to 12 feet, and you're going to work the same break edges that you're finding the bluegills and perch moving along. You're going to find the pike and the walleye. And the big change up here is that you're going to be jigging with rapalas, with lead heads, both the rapala tipped with a minnow head or the lead heads tipped with a full minnow. Now, they can be small minnows, depending on cold front and stable weather. You can downsize your minnows to a 2 or 2.5 inch size, more of a fat head size minnow. That's going to work good. If you're looking for northern pike or you're tip-up fishing for walleye, then you're going to want to go ahead and stop in. I just talked to the young lady who runs Mix, and she said she's got a great supply of shiners in, and those shiners in that 3 to 4 inch size or suckers in the larger 4 to 6 inch size are working awesome for great big northern pike and good size walleyes. Now, that bite's happening on tip-ups primarily, but don't be afraid to sit and jig for walleyes if that's your thing, especially that first hour, hour and a half of the day and that last low light condition right before the sun starts to set. But don't get caught up in walleye jigging all day long. Definitely be willing after the first hour or that last hour of the day to go ahead and reel up those jigging rods for walleye and go ahead and switch over to the panfish presentations while you're working your tip-ups, because that's been working as a really good combination type of bite. Now, if you're staying up at Pine Bluff Resort up on the Big Lake or one of the other resorts on the Big Lake, check out Anderson Bar and Helmer Bar. Now, those, for the people who know them, you can stop at any of the bait stores again in town. I know Fishing Hunt's got some good tear-off maps. Anderson Bar runs along the whole south shore primarily of the Big Lake. Helmer Bar runs just about a mile off the east shore, starts about halfway up towards the tip of Helmer Bay to the north, and it's a long, skinny bar. It's probably, 3/4 of a mile long and about, 400 or 500 yards wide. And that bar tops off at 7 to 8 feet. That bar is a great spot to find mid-lake fish during February and March. So, again, fish the tops of the breaks and the rolls. Try to find some weeds that are left standing on Helmer Bar, and it's going to be a great place to pick up good-sized walleyes and perch. Big pike hang on Helmer Bar as well. Anderson Bar has been the hot bite, especially out in front of the log cabin. The log cabin is a trailer park, probably 2/3 of the way down towards the west, and also towards Burnt Island in the flats around Burnt Island. You can also get some really good 7 to 8 foot water with still some weeds that haven't totally fallen down, and they're catching a mix of walleye, perch, and the occasional sunfish. Now, if you catch a sunfish or a bluegill on the Big Lake, it's going to be a good size fish. They're not as abundant as on South Lake, but they seem to get bigger. Now, baits, they're basically the same presentation. You're setting chubs or shiners or suckers on tip-ups, depending on what you're targeting. Typically, chubs and suckers for pike, shiners for walleye, but of course a pike will hit anything. And Jigging, you're going to be using teardrops, underbobbers, maybe I'd say 2 foot, 18 inches to 2 foot off the bottom to try to encounter those perch and bluegill. Waxies, spikes, a good mix of that. Get yourself a group of guys, head on up to the big Curtis area. There's lots of resorts that are open year-round because of the great snowmobiling, but these two lakes are awesome ice fishing lakes. They offer big fish opportunities in the versions of pike. I've seen some 40-plus inchers on a yearly basis and some really good action on panfish. So get up to Curtis, Michigan. It's a great time of the year to be up there. 8 to 14 inches of ice. There is about a foot of snow, and sometimes you'll run into some areas of slush on the lakes, but with these extremely cold temperatures, I got to believe that everything is going to be tightened up from this point forward. So get to Curtis, Michigan. Thanks to Mix Bait and Tackle. Thanks to Mike over at the Fish and Hunt for great information and taking care of our fishermen when they do come up to the Curtis area. This is John Bergsma with the Manistique Lakes Recreation Area Fishing Report.